Hey mama, what if I told you that your insecurities play a role in who you are as a wife and as a mom? Welcome back to Married Moms Take Control. My name is Nevart Willborn and I'm a licensed professional counselor, and I'm here to help guide you through the fun things that come with being a mom and being a wife. And today we are focusing on talking about self-esteem and insecurities and how they really show up in your marriage and how they show up for you as a mom. So bear with me. And if you're on video, you can see my very large dog. Bear with me. I am a little bit under the weather, so my voice is a little bit gone. But I am so excited to talk to you about this topic because this is the stuff that we all as moms deal with. Every single mom I know, every single woman I know has an insecurity. Doesn't matter what it is, we all have our own battle that we're fighting, whether it's an insecurity that someone else can see or if it's something deep down inside. And when I tell you that you have an insecurity, you probably don't disagree with me. I don't know what your insecurity is, and I bet your mind immediately went to some topic, right? So something in you probably kind of flashed in your mind when I said the word insecurity. So whatever that is for you, I do want you to hold that in your mind, because as you listen to this episode, I want you to think about what it is for you that you feel less confident about than you wish that you did. It could be something in your appearance. Most likely it's going to be something in who you are as a person, right? It might be something that you wish you were better at, or something that you wish other people valued more in you. Maybe other people think you're amazing, but you just don't see it. Maybe you feel really less than about something, and that thing, or maybe it's several things, those things affect your relationships. It's just how it goes. It's not personal to you. It's all of us. We all have things that, because of the way we feel about ourselves and the way that we see ourselves, it affects how we interact with other people. It affects the way that we have relationships with other people in our lives. Those things are so important for us to be aware of, because if we don't understand how that affects us, then we won't know or recognize that it could be having an effect on our relationships. So when we're talking specifically about your marriage or your role as a mother, the way that you feel about yourself in your capabilities, that is something that you may not realize influences how you interact with your husband or how you interact with your children. So let me give you an example. If you are, let's say you grew up in a household where maybe you didn't have a great example for a marriage or parenting, and you're really, really worried about being perceived in a negative way. Maybe you really don't like conflict. Maybe you're intimidated by expressing how you feel. Maybe if someone is challenging you or being direct with you, you get really, really uncomfortable and you're avoidant and you don't like dealing with confrontation. That's an insecurity, right? If you don't feel like you can speak up confidently for yourself, that's an insecurity. If you feel like you are not very maybe smart about something or knowledgeable about something, or you feel like you're not a great mom, or you're not great at comforting or showing emotion or expressing your own emotions, maybe you don't feel really good at helping your kids with school because you didn't get very far in school or whatever. Like, those are all insecurities. And I think typically when we talk about insecurity, we're talking about like physical appearance, and yet whatever, we're women, we all have those issues. But more importantly, what we all deal with is some kind of internal self-worth, confidence level insecurity. So what I want you to think about is, what is that thing for you that makes you not super great at relationships? You might be amazing at relationships, but there might be this one little thing or one big thing that really gets in the way. I was talking to one of my interns earlier. We were talking about her clients. She's working with children. We're talking about some of the parents. Parenting is one of the hardest part about working with kids. So as therapists, when we work with children, the children are the easy part. The parents are the difficult part, because we're having to help parents change the way that they interact or parent a child who's having some kind of behavioral issue or emotional issue, because we need to change the dynamics to support this kid, right? So if you have a kid who's really defiant or just doesn't listen to their parents and says no all the time and doesn't like when a parent implements rules or consequences, then talking to that child is important. And as a therapist, that's what I do. But helping the parents establish new routines and systems at home, structure in parenting, is the only thing that actually makes change. Any therapist that tells you that they can change a child's behavior or issues without working with a parent is not, I don't know what they're doing. It's not a thing. I don't know anyone that works with children who would manage that. The biggest thing we do as therapists who work with children is who work with parents. Okay. So now it's the same when it comes to couples. If I have a wife or a husband that come into counseling because they're having relationship issues, that person can make a ton of progress on their own. But ultimately, until they go back and they make changes to the way that they are interacting with their husband or wife, that is when we see change, right? Working on emotions, talking it out, that's all great. But until you change your behavior, you're not going to see change in your relationship. So for you, if you find that you are, let's say in your role as a parent, and this is kind of similar to the example that I was referring to when I was talking to my intern, if you're a parent and you have an issue with one of your kiddos, maybe your kiddo doesn't listen to you very well, you are going to have to look deeply at how you interact with your kid and how you maybe set up some of the rules and structure and consequences at home, because you are a leader. You set the tone for your child. It doesn't mean your kid's going to care about the tone that you set, but ultimately you have to ask yourself, are you confident in your parenting? Are you confident in the rules that you set for your kid? Are you confident in the consequences that you establish and follow through with? Are you really good at telling your kid what a consequence is, but maybe not so great at the follow through? Do you maybe struggle with having a kid who is defiant and throws a tantrum? Maybe that's really uncomfortable for you and you'd prefer to avoid that power struggle or having a kid that's super upset. That probably is an insecurity for you. I imagine that you don't feel comfortable in conflict with your child or in a situation where you have to be strong and assertive because your kid might push back. That's an insecurity that you might have, but that is going to play out in the way that you then follow through and give your kid consequences. Okay, so now shift that and let's look at your marriage. If you have a situation where your husband did something that you weren't happy with, or maybe isn't super helpful around the house or something like that, if you find that it is really difficult to bring that up and really advocate for yourself or speak about how you feel and being strong in what you're saying, and instead you find that you're kind of tiptoeing around the issue or really, really worried that he's going to get upset with you, or that even if it's just, he's just going to be frustrated with you. That might be an insecurity that comes to you being confident in yourself, or you sticking out for yourself, or even just expressing that you're not okay with something. That's an insecurity. Okay, there are so many insecurities that we can go to, but I want to focus on that. I want to focus on the confidence to be strong, be assertive, speak up for yourself. And I'm not talking about starting a fight or yelling or any of that. We don't do any of that. I never do that. I'm talking about being able to confidently say to your child, do that one more time and you are going to get your phone taken away. Or, hey, hubby, I didn't appreciate that you did that. That really hurt my feelings. Okay. Those are just you being strong, you being steady in what it is that you need. And until you become more confident in who you are, then you are going to notice difficulties in your relationships because you will not come across strong and confident. Your kids are going to be the ones that are actually going to walk all over you much more than your husband. Kids are really good at looking for signs of weakness in their adults. And if you are not super confident in the way that you operate as a mom, Your kids are going to take advantage of that. They're going to push your buttons. They know when it's going to break you down. They know how long you have to be angry for before you just move on and let it go. And they're just going to wait you out. So I teach a lot about how to be consistent, how to be confident, how to have structure. And this applies to parenting just as much as it applies to your marriage. Anything that you do, you have to do consistently. But to be consistent, you have to be confident. You have to believe in yourself. You have to trust that the things that you are doing, that they are going to work if you stick to them. Now, if you're concerned about your method and what you're doing, that's where you learn, you inform yourself, you maybe ask an expert or something like that, do some research online. But once you determine what the right choice is that needs to be done, you have to be consistent. You have to stick to it. If you make a decision that your kid is going to get their phone, iPad, whatever, taken away at a certain time of the night, because we need to have healthy sleep habits, we need to go to bed on time. Okay, you've made a decision because that is what's best for your child. What are you going to do to implement it? What are you going to do when your kid throws a fit and says no and gets mad at you? What is the plan? Because if the plan is to sometimes stick to it and sometimes I'm just too tired, I don't want to deal with it, that's human. That's fine. I cannot blame you for being too tired. But at the end of the day, whatever your goal is, has to have a specific plan that you can stick to. If you can't stick to the plan, you can't stick to the consequence, don't give it. Okay, don't tell your kid you're going to do something and take away their phone if you know yourself and you can't stick to it. It only works if you stick to it, or else you lose all credibility and all authority with your child. So if you've decided this is what I need to do, and guess what? Parenting is majority of the time quite inconvenient. This is what I have to do. This is the decision that I'm going to do it for. So here's my plan. Make a decision to plan out what you're going to do when your kid throws a fit and how you're going to handle that and how you're going to be resilient and not cave and not give in. That is how you gain confidence. That is how you gain authority, and you become stronger in yourself to now you are in charge in a way where your kid can't poke holes at you and you don't feel like you're failing as a parent and you don't feel like you give in so easily and all of that. And it's the same with your husband. Think of it on a positive note. If you've decided that you want to send your husband a text every day at a certain time because you want to invest in your marriage and you want to show your husband that you love him and you're thinking about him, then what are you going to do to be steady with that? How are you going to be confident and strong in yourself that this is a method that works? It only works, though, if I do it every single day, right? You're going to learn so much of what to do with me. If you listen to me, I'm giving you lots of tips of how to work on your marriage, but it only works if you're consistent. And I'm sure there are tons of other professionals that you listen to, whether it's on a podcast or you've watched a training or you've read a book. You have a lot of resources. Are you using those resources? Are you being consistent? Because you probably know a lot of what you need to do and what you don't need to do to have a strong marriage, to be a strong parent. But the question isn't what do you need to do? The question is, how are you going to get yourself to stick to it? Because only when you stick to something and you really see it through and you prove to yourself that your consistency paid off, that's when you become more confident. That's when you overcome your insecurities and you become strong in your roles as a wife, as a mom. Your relationships become stronger. The people in those relationships with you respect you more because they see stability, they see structure, they see that you are the person that you say you are. If you say that you care about the quality time that you spend with your husband, or about taking an interest in his day, or really supporting him in whatever he's working on, are you showing up in behaviors in ways that show him that that's what you're doing, right? Or are you just saying that you want to do these things but not actually doing them? Same with your kids. If you say, okay, kiddo, we will make time to do this thing together, play this game together, go on this walk together, or no, you cannot stay up till midnight every night, or no, you can't have all this sugar, whatever. Are you backing it up with behavior that shows your kid, I mean what I say when I say it? I am structured. I am confident. This is why we're doing this. I believe in you, or I love you and I want to spend this time with you. Be consistent. And I'm telling you, the women that I work with who come in for any number of struggles, the thing that they tend to come down to kind of notice in the end about themselves is that they have a hard time sticking to the thing that they want to do. That applies to self-care too. Having a hard time eating the way that I said I wanted to eat, going to the gym the way I said I wanted to go, doing this craft, doing this home project, reaching out to friends, talking to people that support me. If you have a hard time sticking to it, it just won't work. And that's human nature. We're all terrible at consistency, but we need to be intentional. And if this matters to you, I really, really want you to be intentional. I want you to gain confidence in yourself, be stronger, be less insecure about these things. And it just comes with practice, and it comes with time, and it comes with repetition. Okay. So I hope that helped. I hope that empowers you to realize that, like, if there's something that you want to do, it's not so much about how to do it. It's about, can I stick to it? If I stick to it, I will make progress. So stick to it. Whatever it is that you've got, whatever is on your to-do list or in your heart that you really, really want to invest in relationships, in yourself, in things that you want to do, stick to it, and then you will see progress. Okay? That's all I've got for you today. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and I will talk to you later. Bye.